They called me crown and daughter of a throne, born beneath stars, older than kings, trained to carry grace on my shoulders like armor. But none of those titles told me how you would rewrite the silence inside me. No tutor explained the heartbeat that skips like a songbird when you speak my name. I was taught to stand, to smile, to speak of duty and dignity, yet I was never warned that one smile from you would feel more sovereign than a coronation. I wear jewels, but you gave me light. I live in palaces, but your voice is the only place I want to rest. I believed I understood history until I met you, and learned time begins anew when two souls touch like this. In your eyes I do not see the weight of expectation nor the watchful gaze of a nation. I see the boy who reached out not for a princess, but for a girl with dreams curled like secrets in her heart. You saw me before the crown, you spoke to the part of me hidden beneath layers of silk and ceremony. You made me feel small, not in weakness, but in wonder. How could someone so real love me so quietly and so completely? You taught me that even royalty must kneel to love. When your hand found mine beneath the marble colonnades of Madrid, the world faded, and in its place bloomed something neither of us could name, but both could feel. Your laughter breaks the silence like sunlight through cathedral glass, and every time you look at me as if I'm not heir to a kingdom, but rather keeper of your heart, I forget my destiny and remember only desire. They speak of alliances, treaties, marriages of state, but what I feel for you is beyond the ink of politics. This is not diplomacy, it's devotion. When we walk together, even in secrecy, I feel seen for the first time, not as Spain's future, but as your present. I'm not ashamed to say you taught me how to breathe in a world that expected me to hold my breath, and how cruel, how exquisite, that our love must sometimes live in shadows. In carriages drawn through streets I must wave through, knowing my truest smile belongs not to the crowds, but to you. There is a kind of ache in loving you silently, the way poets love ideas they can never publish. Yet even in the quiet, our love is loud within me. I carry it in the beat of my steps, in the stillness after a royal decree, in the way my fingers trace the outline of where your touch once was. If love must be hidden, let it at least be eternal. If it cannot be paraded, let it be profound. I've begun to think that love like ours isn't found, it's inherited from the stars, passed down in whispers between lifetimes. Maybe I was always meant to find you in this one, even if the world won't understand, because what we have is not a rebellion, it's a return. A return to something ancient, sacred, soft. When I sit beneath the tapestries that hang above my chamber walls, I imagine us woven into a story not of politics, but of poetry, not of protocol, but of passion, and in that version we are not bound by lineage, but lifted by longing. You once told me I looked like spring in November. That phrase stayed with me the way a melody haunts long after the music fades, and I wonder if that's what we are. The unexpected season in one another's lives. You the warmth in my winter, the softness in my strength. I've walked among roses grown by kings, but none compared to the wild bloom you placed in my heart. And when I speak of love, I speak of you, not in past tense, not in future hopes, but in the immediate truth of now. For even if the world shifts and duty pulls me oceans away, know that I will carry you, like breath, like blood, like a promise. We've spoken in glances more honest than words. The way your eyes find mine across a crowded ballroom feels more intimate than any kiss. Sometimes I wonder if the ancients were right, if souls recognize one another before minds do, because when you smiled at me the first time, it felt like memory. As if I'd known that smile in another life. Another crown, another kingdom, and maybe I did. Maybe our story is older than borders, and deeper than oceans. Perhaps I was always meant to fall in love with the one man who reminded me I was never just a princess. I was a person first and yours always. There's a kind of forever we don't talk about, the kind not written in vows, but in glances, not sealed with rings, but with understanding. That's the kind I feel with you, a forever that doesn't demand declarations, but delivers peace. I used to think the future was a throne, now I see it's also a pair of hands that hold mine without expectation. Your love asks nothing, yet gives everything. You love me without armor, without distance. You love the girl behind the glass, the daughter of Spain, not for what I represent but for who I am when I forget the world is watching. Sometimes I write letters to you that I never send. They live in drawers and diaries, pressed like petals between pages. In them I tell you of days spent among diplomats, when all I wanted was your laugh in my ear. I speak of banquets where my smile felt borrowed and of nights where I slept with my hand curled around the ghost of yours. In them you are not a secret, but a certainty, not a whisper but a wind. If one day history erases our names from its scrolls, may it never erase this feeling, for this is not a footnote, it is the reason I believe in destiny. To love you is not to escape my duty, but to remember why it matters. What is a nation without love? What is a queen without a heart? If I am to reign, let me do so with the memory of your kiss grounding me. Let me be a ruler who knows what it means to kneel, not in surrender, but in affection. You taught me that even in command, I can be tender, even in tradition, I can be true. That love is not a rival to power, it is the power. With you I learned that to be royal is not just to be revered, but to be real. I wonder sometimes what our lives will look like years from now. Will we be names etched into monuments, or memories in each other's minds? Will we walk through crowds as strangers, or meet again where time no longer separates us? Whatever the answer, this love, our first and perhaps forever, will remain untouched by the erosion of years. You were my first miracle, my first hush in the chaos. And even if the world does not allow our hands to stay entwined, let it be known, I loved you with the whole of my being, and I always will. So if this is the only time I can say it, if this poem is the only truth I'm allowed to carve into the quiet, let me say it clearly. I love you. Not with the fire of fleeting passion, but with the constancy of stars. You are my secret anthem, my private crown. And when the world sees me stand tall, they will not know that the reason I do so is because once a boy loved me without asking for anything in return. You are not my past, and maybe not my future, but you will always be my first forever.